Welcome to the ReWild University gear test for the Light My Fire Scout Firesteel. This is sold by Industrial Revolution in the United States. It's a Swedish Firesteel. So far, my tests with this in the field have been very good. It has a really nice spark that comes out really easy and has been starting natural tinder on fire very nicely. There are plenty of Firesteels that work well in optimal situations, meaning that you have prepared tinder, your hands are warm, it's not raining. These are great for starting a grill, but if you're putting together a bug out bag or bringing a fire starter when you're going backpacking, you really want a Firesteel that is going to light a fire, maybe possibly save your life when the going gets really tough. So we get into these situations either by bad judgment or bad luck, but if you're an outdoors person, you know that we do get into these types of situations. When I'm looking at a Firesteel that's going to work for me, I'm looking at a number of different factors. It's got to be small and compact, first of all. Whether you're, again, talking bug out bag, backpacking, or my survival kit's about the size of an orange, space is a premium. And we're looking for things that are small and light. So I'm not looking for one of those big honking Firesteels that you see marketed. Second of all, most importantly, this has to be able to work when I'm compromised. So if my hands are cold, there's plenty of times when I'm in the woods and my hands are so cold I can't go pee because I can't undo the buttons on my pants. So am I going to be able to use a fire starter when my fingers are numb? And that's of prime importance for me. So today we're going to do a scenario testing with this Firesteel, and we're going to put it up to some really tough conditions. I've got a spring-fed pond behind me here that stays partially open water and a lot of thin ice all year round. So I'm going to fall through the ice, do a cold water immersion, hopefully be entering into the first stages of hypothermia, and see if I can manipulate this with really cold frozen hands. I also have an injury. I'm chicken winged. I have a sling on this arm. I have a lot of mobility in my hands, but not much mobility in my arm. So I'm going to be further compromised trying to start the fire without full arm mobility. These are definitely two-handed fire starters, so it should be interesting to see if this will stand up to this extreme test. I should also point out that we're going to be testing this Firesteel with only natural tinder. No commercially prepared tinder that has wax or anything else in it. After I fall through the ice, I'll be walking about a quarter of a mile through the woods and gathering natural materials to try to start a fire. This scenario will be much the same as if I was going woods running through the woods and was smart enough to bring this along with me, and for whatever reason was following bobcat tracks out onto the ice for tracking and fell through. Finally, I should point out that I will probably be entering the first stage of hypothermia, and not only will my hands be very cold, but my ability to speak may be reduced. It may become a little bit slurred, so I probably won't even talk for the next part of this review up until the end when I do my overview. So I'm going to get rid of some of this clothes and go for a swim. By now my hands are pretty numb. Still able to break some branches with a fire. We'll see how that fire starter works. Okay, the moment of truth. I'm going to see if this light my fire scout will be operational with really numbed up fingers. It's important to remember if you've gone fairly deep into hypothermia, not to warm your extremities first, but to warm your core. If you warm your extremities, you can send a shock of cold blood into your core that can kill you. I'm not that cold, so it's not a worry at this point. Also, in a real immersion, cold water immersion situation, I would be wanting to build 3 or 4 of these fires around me once I got this started in order to warm myself from all sides. Today, for this scenario, I just wanted to see if we could get a fire started with that fire steel. So I think that it passed with flying colors. It took me about 10 minutes after getting my tinder bundle to get that fire started. That was mostly due to the shaking of my hands, and I couldn't hold the tinder into a bundle. It was scattering apart. Once I did what's called a pin down, which means putting the point right against the tinder, locking it down, got a good scrape, and was actually using some good technique instead of flailing around. The fire started in seconds. So I am very pleased with this Firesteel. Those handles that allow for the nice thumb print there are great if you are confined to only gross motor skills. When my hands were really numb, I still could handle this, keep it still, still as my shaking hands would be, and hold on to it so that I could get a spark instead of it slipping out of my fingers. Another thing to look for in a good Firesteel is what sort of metal they use in the Firesteel. It needs to be able to strike very easily, because if it doesn't work easily and your hands are cold, you're going to have a lot of trouble holding it still enough and aiming it where you want it to go. So you've got shaking hands, your tinder is flailing about, and you're trying to aim. You really need something that's going to strike easily and strike hot. This does both. I'm in love with this Firesteel. It's awesome. I'm going to recommend it to everybody I work with. There's a little extra bonus. It even has a little survival whistle. I'm going to do it quietly because it's very loud. So when you blast it, it's ear piercing. And it doesn't take anything away from the striker itself. It's a great Firesteel.